ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland.
We've got magnificent weather.
I love the people. Beautiful place.
Everything's good.
Streaming now at abc.net.au/Brisbane.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, it is awesome, particularly this segment. We call it Eat the Week. We invite a panel of guests to come in and dissect some of the more tantalising stories over the past 7 days. Some perhaps not as tasteful as others, or sometimes it's just the comments from our panel members. Not looking at anyone in particular. Steve Morgan, comedian, welcome.
Hello. My comments are so tasteful. I will do my best. I'll do my best, I promise.
Now, if anyone's going, I heard that guy on the radio last week.
Yes.
You were my guest for High Fidelity, the segment that follows this.
That's right, yes. And I played a lot of raucous tracks, which I've been told was perhaps, a bit much for the radio, and I apologise if anyone found those distorted guitars.
Yeah, because radios were melting all across the country.
I know, really. I mean, I was going to choose most of the One Direction back catalogue, but at the last minute chose to go in a different direction.
Yes.
They still invited you back. You're back.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, but we're not letting him play any songs tonight.
This is true. This is fair.
Blythe Moore, the voice you can hear, the fair lady in the centre of our panellists tonight from ABC Online. Blythe, lovely. You haven't been on this show since I've been hosting it, so it's lovely to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying not to read into that too much. I mean, there's been plenty of opportunities for you to have me on. I mean, I make myself available, but no, that's fine, Trev. No worries. Yeah. Happy to be here today.
Well, my producer, Tom Greenard, is fist-pumping behind you, so read into that what you will. And John Cahill, welcome to the show. Nice to have you on board.
Thank you for having me along. I'm
first time here.
Yes, it is my first time, so everyone's been very nice so far.
Yeah, and you're a barrister, John?
I am a barrister, yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you've probably just summed it all up.
That's it. That's all you need to know. I'm a barrister.
Thank you.
My name's John.
I'm a barrister and my name's John. And I've been invited here, and I'm going to see what I can do in the next hour.
All right, let's start with this. Now, I think this first story, Steve, will be of such great interest to you. It's a little thing we call the Logies, which are our kind of Oscars, if you like, for Australian television, if you really want to call it that. Hosted in Melbourne since, Noah came over on the Ark, and now apparently Melbourne doesn't want them anymore, and Queensland, well, we're rather keen on the idea.
The Queensland Government is in discussions with Bauer Media and Channel 9 to secure the Logies here to Queensland, particularly the Gold Coast. What we've seen from the Victorian Government is sour grapes. I mean, they've been left dropping the ball on this one, and we know that when events like this become available, that all other states have a look to see whether we can secure that.
Yes, Kate Jones, the Minister for the Arts, and someone who's very excited about the prospect, although sour grapes, gee, that does sound a little bit harsh, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, in your face, Victoria.
So do you have any idea about the Logies at all, Steve?
Absolutely, yes. They're awards for TV shows.
Yes, that's right.
In Australia.
Yes.
It's traditionally hosted in Victoria, Melbourne specifically,
and
a
quality awards program. I mean, it's very highbrow.
No doubt at all. That's why the Gold Coast is being considered for such a prestigious ceremony.
And hello to all of our Gold Coast listeners this evening on the program. Blythe, are you a Logies fan?
No. In a word, no. But I do think that if they brought them to Queensland, it could be potentially, there could be huge benefits for whichever town, Gold Coast, for example, got them. Obviously, these
Charters,
events.
Towers.
Well, I'm not kidding. Stay with me. Just give me a sec. Long-reach Logies.
The long-reach Logies. I like that.
Alliteration.
Yeah, there's the Dash 8 goes in and out once a day. So you get everyone on the plane out there. There's no first class, but then you get them back.
Everyone can clap when the plane lands.
Yeah. That does happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the whole town would come out to greet them as they arrived. Melbourne doesn't do that.
Absolutely.
Melbourne doesn't want it. They've all got sour grapes.
That would
something.
be seriously newsworthy. Getting them out to somewhere like the real outback. I mean, Birdsville.
Yeah.
Hello to the 10 people listening in Birdsville right now. I mean,
Come on, Birdsville. Get activated. Get motivated. You want the Logies. You know you do.
Well, they had the races there. They just had the races there last week. 7,000 people. They can do it. They can put on a big event.
I like
And
the
this would
sound
be
of that.
seriously newsworthy. I don't know. I'm just, the Gold Coast, they've got the Commonwealth Games. They've got some stuff going on.
There's a bit of stuff going on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
John Cahill, what do you think?
I can't believe that we actually pay for the Logies to be on. That's awful.
we?
We should be paying for them to stay away. I didn't realise the award ceremony was run like some kind of sporting event that you had to bid for. Why on earth would you want to bid for that show? It's awful. We can't go to Longreach. Poor old Bert Newton would melt.
Oh, yeah, Bert's not
cruel.
pleased, is he? He's
No, he's
not
not.
pleased.
Toupee would droop, and no, he was a little bit hurt.
I
Wasn't
thought he was
Yeah.
still in hospital and he came out and he could speak. So that was, I suppose that's a plus.
Patty, I'm not happy.
I think my favourite thing about the whole story has been the reactions from people blowing it out of all proportion. It's like, you know, a 7-year-old who's dropped their ice cream and is having a tantrum and is saying, like, why is no one else appreciating the fact
So
that my ice
Carl
cream's on the floor?
Stefanovic, that's who you're specifically talking about right now? Is
Yes,
that, yes,
Carl
yeah.
Stefanovic
Carl,
who's dropped his ice cream.
Who's
and
threatened
cannot
to
eat it anymore.
boycott the games if they come to Queensland?
Well, can we boycott Carl Stefanovic?
Yeah, I'd be shattered if Carl didn't come to the
Do us all a
Logies.
favour.
Or just didn't come to Queensland. And
crying
interestingly,
on the
because the
inside.
Today Show seems to be doing a broadcast from like the Gold Coast or some other part of Queensland,
it?
like
Yep.
Right.
like you know the Sunshine Coast or the Reef or wherever it is. Every other day it seems to be. It's like, but no, Carl, if the Logies are coming to Queensland, he's boycotting it. Yeah,
Yep.
right.
They've done a
How dare
broadcast. Today's done a broadcast from Longreach. They have the capability.
Right.
Carl could just, rock out
Why
of
do you
bed,
want
roll
to
out
do
of
this to
bed.
the Longreach people?
Are you sponsored by Longreach? There's a Longreach
cruel.
conspiracy here.
Everyone in
cruel.
people in Longreach know I have a special little spot in my heart for Longreach. Hello to my friends out in Longreach.
Yeah.
But it would be amazing. It would fill up all the hotels. They're in a drought out there.
Yeah,
and
of
they have
course
been.
you've got the Qantas Museum. So
Yep.
now to add to that, all these museum pieces that they trot out every year for the Logie Awards.
Yep.
You know, like Bert.
Bert could be permanently there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bit of groundswell happening in this studio for
Yeah,
this
no,
idea.
I don't want it here.
That's 4
I don't want it
3
here.
people.
We're all mad.
We're all mad. We're all mad. Okay. But will it put Queensland on the map? I mean, we've had the Jeff Horn title fight. You know, that seemed to be such a big deal. Like, governments get so excited about this, but I don't know that people really care,
but
do they?
Why? How does the Logies put us? We're already on the map. Why do we need a very dated 1970s dreadful...
The map I have
no
just
one
says
even
here be
hosts it anymore.
dragons north of Byron Bay.
They know. People know where we are. We're on the map. We're fine.
It just amuses me that Melbourne, that's the cult, sells itself as the cultural capital of Australia, is so up in arms that they've lost something that is awful.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Anyway,
All
gosh,
right. Well,
I'm
look,
never going to be nominated for a Logie, am I?
No,
I've done my dash
I
there.
don't think this program will either, sadly. But look, we may be on the map, but our trans-Tasman cousins are singing their hearts out from both islands because in the last 12 months, Australia, ladies and gentlemen, has plunged from a top 10 finish to about the middle of a 65-nation ranking of the most desirable places for expats. Be inspired. Start singing.
I'm crying.
If you haven't heard this before, this is...
What is... Oh,
This is the New Zealand national anthem. Yes,
Oh.
God defend New Zealand.
Oh, well.
Defend. Very.
What's he defending them from?
Probably nuclear attack because they don't have any arsenal, do they?
It's the
Are
only
they
way to
close?
stop it, apparently.
Are they closer to Korea? No.
No.
No, they're further
No,
away.
a little bit further.
That's
No,
Antarctica you're thinking
but
of.
given Korea's inaccuracy, if they were aiming for us, they'd probably hit New Zealand. So,
What's that out there? Yeah, okay.
yes. So, are we really deeply hurt by this? That this expats organisation, which just represents this sort of middle class of people that vote on their favourite destinations on the planet, that have 2.5 million members and say, no, we don't really like Australia very much anymore. No, we don't want to come here. New Zealand, much nicer.
Guys, I don't want to alarm anyone, but I am actually British. Which technically does make me an expat. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Now, I would like
So
to
what are you
also
doing here? Why didn't you go to New Zealand?
Well, I'm here to take everyone's jobs. That's why I...
Oh, right.
Should the three of us just vacate the studio now
Yeah,
for a start?
exactly. This is my show now. But no, I mean, I wasn't polled on this, so I'd just like to point out that not all expats,
Yes.
just like not all men,
Not this
all
expat.
expats.
It's 2.5 million expats, isn't it?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
a very exclusive, rich bunch.
Yes.
That's basically saying
Rich?
yeah.
No
Aren't
one
they?
told me
Isn't it-
that.
Yeah, aren't they? I thought it was some sort of exclusive business
Yeah,
club.
generally
Yeah,
expats
kind
are
of, yeah.
educated and employed in well-paying industries.
Like to jump on planes.
Yeah, I do have I've got some questions though, Trev, because there's a million. I did a little bit of research at home on the Googles.
Really? Being the conscientious ABC journalist you are. Yeah.
That's it. I like to come in informed. There are a million New Zealanders living overseas. So if New Zealand
998,000 of them are here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like if it's so good over there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, it's beautiful over there. I think it's gorgeous, but no one's there. But, you know, I guess if you're rich, you've got the ability to fly where you want to go, and perhaps you do want to go to somewhere where there's nothing other than lovely mountains.
Hey, where I'm from, a winter is a proper winter. And by proper winter, I mean a terrible, terrible time. It's so cold and dark and horrendous. And I'm so glad that people complain about the winter here. But I'm just like, well, it does get marginally colder than is comfortable, but at least you're not kind of spending your entire time not seeing any sort of sunlight.
So what's that? Steve's been here 10 minutes and he's whinging about the weather. So you are a full pom.
Thank you.
You're a full pom.
That is my place on this show.
No, I thought you loved that other people, Australians in particular, complained about how cold it got in winter here.
Oh, there is a bit of that. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
You think?
So you're whinging about the weather back home.
I'll whinge about anything. You just name a subject and I'll whinge about it. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cold in Queensland this winter. I think it got down to 24 one day.
I know. I couldn't bear it. I had to put my socks on.
Outrageous. So, and this survey, by the way, was done before the government rescinded the 457 working visas. So it's going to be much harder for these, multi-millionaire expats that don't want to come here anyway. Should they make that rash decision to come to Australia, I think it's going to be much harder as it is. So, are we becoming less tolerant? Are we getting something wrong here? Does it really matter that people don't prefer Australia or prefer New Zealand to us?
Gosh, I don't know if that's it. I think the cost of living is a big one.
Yeah.
I think, more than the tolerance.
The cost of living in New Zealand's massive.
Is it?
Yeah, it's huge.
You think it's more
Sydney?
expensive than here?
Yes, it's far more expensive than here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the dollar's worth less.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you want to get out, it's harder. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful lifestyle over there.
It's lovely. Yeah.
It is a beautiful country.
It's a beautiful
Lovely
country.
people,
Yeah,
funny
lovely
accents.
people, funny accent. Got a great film industry.
Yes.
Yep.
There's the, what was it? What was the
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
The Lord of the Rings. Yes.
Hi, part-time dementia here, don't worry.
You can go and live in a little grass mound
Yeah,
somewhere
you
in
can go
the
and see
middle
the
of New Zealand
mounds
and pretend that you're from, the Shire.
Yeah.
I love this mildly patronising tone. Like, yeah. Oh, it's lovely there. Oh, look at the little New Zealanders. Oh, look at him. He's talking like people.
So, all right, if we needed to get more people here and if it's good for our economy, which presumably it is if these people have got so much money, these wealthy middle-class expats, have you got a slogan? What would bring people back to Australia? What do we need? What's, any thoughts around what would be a great campaign to get people to come back to Australia?
Well, I looked up a couple of other slogans from other countries, and these are a couple that stood out to me. Panama, it stays in you.
Oh, good God.
Goodness. Yeah. Morocco, the country that travels within you.
Right.
Bangladesh, visit Bangladesh before the tourists come. That's their slogan.
That's the first one that doesn't sound like it's about tapeworms.
Yeah. And I consulted with my expat husband at home just to see what he thought. And he thought, Australia, it's not all spiders.
Yes.
Right.
So there's that,
Yeah, we've got sharks too.
Yeah.
We've got sharks.
Australia, you probably won't die.
Yeah, within the first 10 minutes.
I don't know. So that's a starting point. We can go from there. See where we go.
We're brainstorming. We'll get
It's
something.
the early stages. Yeah.
Lovely. You're listening to Eat the Week on ABC Radio Brisbane in Queensland, and our third entree this evening, under the title we've called it Play It Again, Dan. When music teacher Dan Fabio was diagnosed with a brain tumour, he was concerned about losing not only his livelihood but one of the greatest passions in life during the surgery to remove it. The tumour was located near the part of the brain responsible for music function. So a team of physician scientists and a music professor came up with a novel way of ensuring Mr. Fabio did not lose his musical abilities.
This little sliver of brain here is the area that we were trying to protect. We worked with you on your breathing so that your brain wouldn't come all the way out of your head. He had an MRI scan of his brain, which revealed a relatively large tumor in an area that is involved with sophisticated hearing and musical function.
Indeed. And Mr. Fabio, that was him playing the saxophone. Isn't it an amazing story? Yeah. But that line about you just didn't want the brain to pop out of your head. Sorry.
That would be ideal. That would be the ideal situation.
I caught it in the saxophone. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. What's that muffled sound? Oh, it's my brain. Oh, well.
It's just amazing how they can do this stuff and the human mind is still working and here's Dan just, noodling away on the sax.
I'm disappointed he didn't play Careless Whisper, though. I mean, that would have been perfect. Or Baker Street, maybe. The two songs I associate with the saxophone.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot of work. Not only do you have to go into surgery, now you have to play a musical instrument.
Yeah, it's a lot,
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
With the hospital staff putting some coins in a little bedpan beside him or something like nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, couple
Make
of
a bit
dollars.
of money. Yeah, surgery
More
don't come cheap.
strings,
Yeah. It's an idea. Yeah.
Come on, admit it. If you could play saxophone, you'd be playing all the time. You'd just be like on the bus and you'd be like...
Well, I did play the saxophone when I was at school, and no instant constant here, but it requires quite a bit of effort, and it's pushing a lot of air out, but also back up into the skull area. So that would explain.
The popping of the brain.
Is this story real? It really, I read it quickly this afternoon.
It's
and
astounding, yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, but when you breathe out, you don't get like a bubble effect in the top of your brain. It's not like a balloon up there.
Yeah, but it's a force that could force the brain, and I think that's what they were concerned about, wasn't it? The brain. But what about hygiene and everything? Did they how does this all work?
Some very advanced medical commentary going on here tonight.
All that slobber on the mouthpiece, on the
jab
reed.
down your saxophone before you go in, love. You're all right. You're all right. Just take your head off, and you'll be fine. Just what? Where was this? Where was this happening?
In the States, wasn't it? I think.
Right.
In a coffee shop.
Bloody Trump. People are going nuts playing saxophones in their surgeries with their heads off.
Yeah.
Anyway, what next?
All right. So
Clarinet?
if you had brain surgery performed on you and you were told you can only keep one particular talent post surgery, which one would you choose to keep? What would it be?
It would be music.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be playing a bloody saxophone for it. I know that much. Might sing a couple of tunes, but it'd be music.
Yeah. Blythe.
Oh, look, I've been known for quite a long time for being quite an extraordinary reverse parker. I think, no, seriously, do you know one time, I kid you not, I did a reverse park, right? And when I completed it, I smiled at this guy who just happened to be passing by because I was so pleased with myself. He was also pleased. He left a note on my car and said, I saw your reverse park. Do you want to go out sometime? This is how good my reverse parks are. Back when I was single, it got the guys.
You probably need to teach me something because I had a crazy lady write in lipstick on my windscreen 2 weeks ago, just down the road here at West End, going, "This is the worst park I've ever seen in my life." Wow. And it was written perfectly in... It was, I don't know, I don't wear lipstick, but it looked like Revlon. It looked expensive. And it didn't look drunk. So she was clearly you need to...
Gosh, you really...
Just afterwards, give me a bit of training.
It's pretty... I mean, it's something I've been doing well for a long time now, John.
It's a passion of yours, I can tell.
When you got back to the car, by the way, John, did you just drive around with that message scrawled across the...
It was really... No, I've still got it
public
caked on
shaming.
It's still caked on my windscreen, and it took forever. There is still smears of it because I haven't been...
Is this a true story?
This is true.
Really?
I just come back from dinner at West End, and I was with two friends, and we get in the car, and I look up and I go, oh. And there's this, and at first I went, has the clown visited? What's going on? And then I look, and then there's this, and it was like 2 sentences. She put a lot of effort into it.
And
it was well written. This is the worst. Well,
was your car like in the middle of the road?
No, it was fine. It was a little
on the
close
pavement
to hers. It was a little close. Okay. But it was. I was actually quite shocked. I've never been lipsticked.
No, I haven't either.
On a car before. Yeah. So anyway, if you're listening, hi, I know who you are. Anyway,
thanks so much.
So, yeah,
reverse parking is a bit of
well,
talent you've got to retain, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't really have any like physical talents, like in terms of like sport or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm really hanging my hat on the reverse parking at the moment.
Who knew reverse parking could be so sexy?
That's it. Know. You know it, Trev.
Okay. No reversing cameras required for you, Blythe. No. And Steve Morgan, we know that you're not a particularly good driver, so I don't suspect that driving would be your talent that you would want to retain. What would
I'd quite like, perhaps maybe if they could like operate and maybe play around with the brain there and get that to be a bit better.
Yes.
But no, mine would probably be talking over films and TV shows.
Oh, you excel at that?
Yeah, I'm really good at kind of, and I kind of, make it better, I think, in my opinion. So while you're watching TV shows and films with other people, it's like sometimes it's not interesting enough. So maybe if I start talking over the top of it, it might be improved, is how I see it. And I wouldn't want to lose that talent.
It should be on Gogglebox or something like that.
Yeah, why not?
On that.
I love that
if
show.
anyone listening,
I love that show.
Yeah, get me on there.
All right.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn it, Victoria and your Logies.
Oh, your Logies.
You're listening.
Everything's being moved to the Gold Coast, so you never know.
Exactly,
Just move south and you'll be in.
That road's a bit busy, though.
This is Eat the Week. You're listening to ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland. We'll be back with our main courses next. I don't think there's any saxophone in this song, but we'll just check to find out.
Woke up cold one Tuesday. I'm looking tired and feeling quite sick. I felt like there was something missing in my day-to-day life. So I quickly opened the wardrobe, pulled out some jeans and a t-shirt that seemed clean, topped it off with a pair of old shoes that were ripped around the seams. And I thought these shoes just don't suit me. Hey, I put some new shoes on and suddenly everything's right. I said, hey, I put some new shoes on and everybody's smiling. It's so inviting. No short on money but long on time. Slowly strolling in the sweet sunshine, and I'm running late and I don't need an excuse, 'cause I'm wearing my brand new shoes. Woke up late one Thursday and I'm seeing stars as I'm rubbing my eyes, and I felt like there were 2 days missing as I focused on the time. Then I made my way to the kitchen, but I had to stop from the shock of what I found. A room full of all of my friends, all dancing round and round. And I thought, hello new shoes, bye-bye blues. Hey, I put some new shoes on and suddenly everything is right. I said, hey, I put some new shoes on and everybody's smiling. It's so inviting. No short on money but long on time. Slowly strolling in the sweet sunshine, and I'm running late and I don't need an excuse, 'cause I'm wearing my brand new shoes. Take me wandering through these streets where bright lights and angels meet. Stone to stone they take me on. I'm walking till the break of dawn. Take me wandering through these streets where bright lights and angels meet. Stone to stone they take me on. I'm walking till the break of dawn. Hey, I put some new shoes on and suddenly everything is right. I said, hey, I put some new shoes on and everybody's smiling. It's so inviting. No short on money but long on time. Slowly strolling in the sweet sunshine, and I'm running late and I don't need an excuse, so I'm wearing my brand new shoes. Oh, hey, I put some new shoes on and suddenly everything is right. I said, hey, I put some new shoes on and everybody's smiling. It's so inviting. Oh, short on money but long on time. Slowly strolling in the sweet sunshine, and I'm running late and I don't need an excuse, 'cause I'm wearing my brand new shoes.
Oh, Mr. Palanutini and New Shoes on ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland. It's just coming up to 8:30, and this is Eat the Week, and our Panel of guests include Steve Morgan, comedian, Blythe Moore from ABC Online, and John Cahill, a barrister, on the show. First timer for Eat the Week and doing spectacularly well too.
Well done.
A bit sarcastic. Right.
What? Okay, so let's get into our first main course. Emotionless chatbots are taking over customer service. It's so hard to get a real person on the phone these days, is it not? Almost any time you want to call your bank or a doctor or just about any service, you're probably going to be greeted by some automated service that designed basically to prevent you from actually getting through to anyone who's human at all. It's quite a worry. And it could soon get worse thanks to the rise of chatbots.
Can you help me?
Hold on. That's what I'm here for. What can I assist you with?
I want to travel.
Hold on. It's fascinating to learn about other cultures.
But I don't have money.
Hold on. It's all right. We can work the things out even without it.
Oh, so compassionate.
Yeah, I know. I can see a romance right there. That's the beginnings of it. That's hot.
Work it out.
It's like-
It's fine. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Hold on.
How frustrated do you get when you're just trying to find a human being on the other end of the line?
I don't know.
In general.
Trev. I don't know. The humans I find at the other end, or particularly Telstra, call centres are far more useless than any chatbot. I much prefer to have a chatbot because normally they'll end up referring you to something that will be useful. Whereas Telstra, you just get transferred from country to country to country and then you get hung up on. So bring on the robotic revolution, I say.
Oh,
we'll
right.
finally get something done.
I feel comfort having that voice-on-voice human contact, having that real human connection. It just, for me,
You're not
that's
with
where it's
Telstra, though, are you? That's right.
Have you got some sort of Stockholm syndrome?
Oh, no, seriously, I've had a huge fight with Telstra this week. It's been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
said Telstra?
Yeah, sorry, I've got to stop saying it. Sorry,
Yes.
next.
Thank you, John. Yes. So for you, Blythe, it obviously is an issue.
Oh, yeah, I do like humans. I called my bank the other day because I'd lost my, phone banking PIN. You've got your phone banking PIN. So I put my account number in and they said, enter your phone banking PIN. I'm like, that's why I'm calling you. And I just couldn't do it. And I kept just pressing the pound key and they're like, that is not your phone banking PIN. And I'm like, I know, I twitch. So I ended up having to go in to the bank and physically talk to them. And I felt better after that exchange.
And did the person behind the counter say, please enter your banking PIN?
No, but I had my ID. I had all the stuff proving that I'm Blythe. But yeah, I mean, I would have been all right with doing it on the phone, but the fact that I was calling them for the thing that they insisted that I needed to do the call. Anyway, I needed a good solid episode of Batchy after that experience, just to calm me down.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? Your chatbots bothering you?
It depends. I mean, that whole thing where it goes, please speak and tell me which, service you require. When you have to actually physically say it and you actually know that you're talking to a robot and just there's something about it that's kind of like, no, don't make me do this. I'll press your buttons. I'll type in your PIN number. Don't make me talk to you, robot. Which makes me feel like I'll be on the wrong side of the robot revolution when it comes around. But we are close to actually passing the Turing test. So, admittedly, it's in early days of actually pushing that into, say, customer service level things. But and perhaps it's something slightly patronizing if, you had this voice that said, good day. How are you? How is your wife?
This whole idea of automated customer service, Blythe, it's a classic example because, if it doesn't follow the program format, your cactus. Aren't
Yeah,
you?
and humans don't follow the program format. I mean, there'd certainly be some organisations that do require a bit of empathy, I think, and a bit of compassion. I mean, if you're calling Centrelink for XYZ reason, you know, it's quite possible.
Are you saying that you get empathy from Centrelink?
No, I'm just saying that you might get a little bit more, you know, a person can kind of work in the grey area, whereas a chatbot works in the black and white space. But humans, we've got a lot of, you know, our lives are grey.
Hold on. Transferring you to... No. We're on the radio, sorry.
But, you know, there's all sorts of issues
really
here.
Good. I was going, where's that coming from?
Yeah, it's actually my voice. You know, get a lot of voiceover work.
There's all sorts of issues here. If you've got a speech impediment, for instance, and it doesn't understand you, like, you know, like a speech impediment, like a Welsh accent, like Steve, for instance.
Look
Like,
at Steve.
So,
I mean,
how rude. Hold on.
It's really tricky, but we can't stop the tide. We can't stem the tide.
I think they're going to get
John,
better.
bring it on.
I think they're going to get better, and I just feel that humans' customer service at the moment is just woeful.
In their defence, I, as a customer, I'm terrible at kind of phoning up and saying, how do I do this? How do I get into the thing which I don't... how do I log in? Oh, okay, you got to use my password. Great. Okay, thanks, bye. You know, I will ask questions which are very, very easy to answer and will be that pain to customer services, which they will probably have some sort of chart which will say, we've spent like 3 billion hours dealing with customers who have asked the same question. It's like that whole kind of cliche of IT support of turn it off and turn it back on again. Yeah. A lot of the time, these sorts of things will sort themselves out. And, you know, give it an hour and someone will, you know, instead of shaking their fist at the phone, will go like, oh, actually, yeah, this is how I do it.
Oh,
and then
Google.
the problem's gone.
Oh, Google. And now you've got now you've got that Google system, isn't it? What's that called? Google Home.
Yeah.
And it'll be calling the other robot. It's like, we'll have robots to deal with the other robots.
What do you
we'll
guys
just be sitting in the corner?
Do you have any
in
of
a
that,
bucket.
the Android thing or the Google Home thing or whatever it is? Have you seen that in action or have you actually experienced it? Like,
I've
would
used
you
it
have
on my
one
phone
in your
the
home?
very first time I used Google Home. This is true.
Oh, you've
very
used it.
first time I used it, I said, and it was on my phone, I said, lock phone, and it said, calling Jennifer Locke. How is it? No,
don't.
Right,
I haven't spoken to her in like
Broke up
6
with her
years.
3 years ago. Really?
It's like
really?
Siri. I can't work out Siri. It doesn't understand my voice. So
Do you know, I've actually got 2 phones, right? And the other...
it's very important.
So I've got, you know, a work
Like
phone.
the CEO. You with the saucy top.
I have my work phone and my
your
play
work
phone.
phone, right.
And the other day I called on my play phone, I called my
your
brother.
cat?
Yeah, that's my cat on my screensaver.
Oh,
yeah, that's
lovely.
Aggie. Yeah, Aggie. Hi, Aggie.
Aggie a ginger.
Yeah, he's a ginger. Yeah. Anyway, so I called my brother on my play phone and I went,
whoops.
Hey, Stevie, how are you? And my other phone went, I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
okay.
And I was like, "What? Get out of it, Siri."
It thought
on
it was
the other
Siri
phone.
thought you were talking.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know, next
Your
level.
phones are having an affair behind
That's
your
it,
back.
yeah. But one of my colleagues
play
has...
phone's playing
Yeah,
up.
I was going to say the play phone. Why do you call it a play phone? Well, it's your
Wait.
non-work phone.
It's my after
Right.
5 phone, John.
Goodness. Wow.
It's the parallel parking phone.
I've got the... Yeah, that's it. It's the reverse parking
It's a
phone.
reverse parking phone.
Hello to my
It's the one
husband
wrapped in
at
the
home.
silk phone
Yeah.
cover.
To the
Didn't you
lipstick
notice it?
phone.
No, I'm in a committed relationship. Hi, Ash, at home. I'm, there's nothing you need to be worried about with the 2 phones.
Yeah.
It's the third phone you have to worry about.
Can you honestly see yourself coming home to a device and just saying, give me the football scores and turn the lights on and switch the oven on. I want to bake a
Love that.
pizza or whatever.
I do that
that
already
is-
to myself. So, how different is it going to be just with a device that actually probably knows what it's doing more than I am? So,
Until
bring it on.
until the machines turn against us and the end of humanity is nigh, then I'm fine with that.
Did you see that robot trying to pack shelves the other day? Like, I think we've got a bit of time.
there we go.
They've got some work to do.
No, but
You didn't
I'm
see it?
thinking. Oh no, I've seen that,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
just thinking about your incident with Siri, and you think Siri thinking that you were talking to it.
Yep.
And then what Steve has just said there. Imagine if you said, "Sorry, just turn on Sky News," and it went, "Turn on Skynet," like this,
Yeah.
and bang, Terminator 2. Here we are,
Yeah.
end of the world.
I'm
Next
afraid I
minute.
can't do
Where
that.
will
Sky
it
News,
end?
Skynet, like really.
same thing, isn't it?
Hello.
Yeah. I love the way as
Sorry.
well. They would have a function which is just literally turn on Skynet and it's like, whoop, okay. Bye-bye, humanity.
Yeah.
Why did no one think of this?
Wow. Who knew everyone would have this kind of access to weapons of mass destruction on their phones?
Well,
Who knew?
who knew we'd be wandering around with computers in our hands?
I'm sure Donald Trump could start World War III with a tweet.
Well,
he probably already has.
probably already has, actually. Oh, well.
This is Eat the Week on ABC Radio Brisbane in Queensland. What about unlikely bromances? When federal politicians Bob Katter and Anthony Albanese get together, sparks fly, but not in the way you might imagine. Theirs is a bromance which has come of age. The self-described bushwhacker from northern Queensland and the inner Sydney Labor stalwart have been mates for 21 years. Who would have picked that?
Bob Katter is one of the great characters of our national parliament. He's a mate of mine. I'm proud to say that. That doesn't mean we agree on all issues, of course not, but I respect him.
But he can mix equally with rich and powerful, and I think feel just as comfortable knocking around with we bushwhackers out here in the middle of nowhere.
They love each other, don't they? It's so cute. It's
What
like,
could they possibly have in common?
They're kind of impersonating each other in that grab, weren't they?
Yeah, it was
Albo
really
was getting a bit
cute.
slower and Bob was even getting slower. Yeah.
But
They
do you
weren't
have-
chatbots.
Yeah, like do you have everything in common with all of your friends? Like I was thinking about this. I've got this mate James, right, and he's not, he's terrible to his girlfriends. He's just he's a real,
Hi, James.
Yeah, he's so funny, and I don't agree with all his views on everything, and he says terrible things sometimes, but
Right.
he's really funny, and we're a weird friendship, And I think also Albo, I mean, he and Rudd were good mates. Remember they used to do that thing on Sunrise?
Yes.
I think Albo just likes who he likes. I don't know. I feel like it might be genuine, and Katter is just
It was Albo and
Katter.
Chris Pine, wasn't it? They do the Today Show, don't they?
They do. Do they do that now?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the one that Carl hosts. I don't watch it.
Yeah.
Carl.
No, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
I don't
boycotting
watch
Carl.
Yeah.
He can boycott Queensland. I'll just boycott him.
Carl the
This is next level though. Going on a little boys trip. Up
Yeah,
north,
yeah,
like
it is.
that is next level for sure.
Yeah.
But I just love the way they're talking about each other. Like, oh, we've been together so long. He's such
Oh,
a
Mum,
funny
can
guy.
Bob stay over? Oh, come on, Mum. Yeah, we're playing games. Yeah.
Why has this happened? What's
Well, it's basically about energy and
It's about
the fact
energy.
that- yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
basically
it's-
green energy. And,
Green
and
energy.
being smarter
Bob,
about
green
energy.
energy.
Well,
That's
smarter
hilarious.
about energy.
green with envy?
They're solar
come
mates.
on.
Well, yeah. I can just imagine, them rocking up into Charters Towers, Bob just pulling out a piece of coal and setting it on fire in front of Albo.
Look, Bob understands it. Renewables is the way to go as far as he's concerned. And why not? But I still have trouble working out where these guys are striking this friendship. He's got the 20-gallon hat on his head, and Albo's your inner city DJ kind of doing his thing.
Hey,
Bob threw rotten eggs and tomatoes at the Beatles when they came to Brisbane in '64. I'm going like, where's the
Love's a beautiful
the
thing.
synergy
Love is a
there?
beautiful thing. Just got to let it be.
Opposites attract.
Well, Trev, I'm a Sunshine Coast girl, born and bred, but I spent 4 years out in Longreach working for ABC Western Queensland.
again.
Now,
Yeah.
see, you didn't declare your long-reach
like
interest.
my
Right.
allegiance. Yeah, and I ended up making, friends with people that I would never normally have, just cross paths with, basically.
Right.
Like cattle graziers, and it's just you make friends in all sorts of places
Yeah.
when
When
you
you-
have time together, when you can find some common ground.
And when you've got a play phone, you've got lots of time.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
Oh,
Lots of
God.
reverse parking.
I'm never going to live this down.
dear.
Eat the Week, brought to you by Longreach.
What do you think the conversations between Bob Katter and Albo would be? Like, what kind of things would they actually say to each other?
Gosh.
Oh,
They're
Bob,
both-
I fancy a girl. Oh, but I just don't know if she likes me back.
Yeah, I look at
the
just a
cattle's
lot.
looking a bit lean this year. That'd be his response.
Oh, Bob, there'd be hardly any words. I think Albo would be filling the air somewhat. But I don't know what they'd be talking about.
Look, they've both been in Parliament for quite a
long time.
You know, they're colleagues in a way. I mean, they walk the same bit of carpet. They, move around the same people.
What's Pauline wearing today?
Yeah, that's it. How are Jack's eyebrows looking?
Jack's eyebrows. What are going on with those eyebrows? Wow.
They are quite intense.
They are bullets on a forehead. Yeah, so no, I don't. Yeah, it is a weird bromance, but then bromances are weird, aren't they?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think we should just let people be and let them love each other in whichever way that they want to.
It's way less weird
Very
than
Jesus-like of you.
You know, Dennis Rodman.
Comedian or not? Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Dennis Rodman, Kim Jong Un. That's way weirder.
Right. Yeah, that is weirder.
There's weird.
It may stop World War III, though.
Everything's
and
weird
that might
about
be good.
Dennis Rodman. You know.
Yeah, I don't know why they're hanging out. That one, I don't know. They're just.
You could say Dennis Rodman and Blythe Moore, and you go, "That's weird." You know,
Dennis Rodman and insert name
weird.
here is
Have you
strange.
ever been to Longreach?
Has he ever?
Yeah.
No, he'd make quite an impact though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would.
Oh yeah.
But has Dennis Rodman ever played for the worst sporting team ever?
I can't recall their last win, to be honest. It could be 4 or 5 years. I'm not really sure.
Round 1, Arid Eagles 15 to Taddean 120. It wasn't too bad though. It was a good hit out for the first of the week. But round 2, we moved on to Moyston, which was 27 to 97. Still trying to find our feet. Round 3, we scored 10 to 125. Round 5, it was 21 to 128.
Actually, I reckon as bad as it looks, that game was actually not bad.
It was probably one of our better games. The score
like smart footy we played.
The score doesn't reflect on how good the footy was.
Oh, yeah, good on you. Yeah, all those sporting cliches, footy was the winner on the day, but not the Ararat Eagles reserves, the footy team that never wins. The club in regional Victoria did not win a single game this season, didn't even score a point during its last match in the home and away season, being beaten by 164 to 0. So, how do you get back up and just go out in the field? Or is that your badge of honour, the fact that, we are the worst sporting team of all time?
Hey, this one's close to my heart. I grew up in South Wales and I wanted to fit in, so I took up football because most people in the UK play football a lot. And I didn't play for a good team, and I was pretty bad on this bad team. And the coach would regularly just kind of put me in different positions to try and find out if maybe there was one which I was good at, and one which would make, and you reached the point, I think, where you realised that we were never really going to win any games. So,
and your best position was left, right, out? Or?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I do remember the one time when I was actually put up front, and I think that was because of the fact that we would never, ever be in their half or attacking. We'd be spending the entire game defending, and that way I could just kind of watch from the other side and have a little walkabout, and then if someone hoofed it up the pitch, I'd just be like, I don't know what to do. Just run around and kick it really hard and hope for the best and look as if I meant it so that no one would pick on me afterwards.
Oh, poor Steve.
Thank
you.
I have
I need a violin now.
Well, but I agree with you. This kind of story, I can't say it's close to my heart. I find it terrifying because it takes me back to my years at high school where I was forced against my will to play rugby union for, 2 years. They gave up after 2 years because I was actually more of a liability than assistance. But, I looked like a rugby player, but that was about it. I had no idea what was going on. People kept running into each other. I kept running away. I'm going, I don't want to go in there. Don't force me to do that. Why are you spitting at me? Just get your hands off. That
was before the game started.
Horrifying. So I read this, and that was only on a Saturday night. So, good Lord, the game itself is something else. But reading this, look, I admire their resilience. But I was reading this story and going, this is a nightmare. I could not think of anything worse of getting out every day going, what the hell am I doing? And now we've lost, and now I'm the subject of a national media story.
We're so
God,
bad.
I am so embarrassed.
Now we know how Victoria feels after losing the Logies.
Oh, well, that's true. I love that little circle in there. Oh, God, for a foreigner, you're obsessed with that show.
Blythe, are you the only one who has any sympathy for the Ararat Eagles?
Oh, I love this story so much. I just think this is regional journalism at its
Regional
best.
journalism.
It's
Get up there, boys.
friendship won on the day, didn't it? It's triumph
We got
over
a long reach
adversity.
story coming on. I can feel the long reach. Come on, girl. Come on, get
I
it out.
do have a long reach story, actually. I did, hi Long Reach. I'm sure they're appreciating these anecdotes and these shout-outs.
Share the long reach story. Come on.
A couple of years ago, I was in a mixed netball team in the D division.
They had a D division in Long Reach. In Long Reach,
netball is very popular in Long Reach.
Right.
Honestly, there is if
most
you
popular
ask,
sport in the country.
I would,
More
and
participants
definitely
than
in
any
Long
other
Reach.
sport.
If you ask anyone,
in Long Reach.
In Long Reach?
No.
And in Long Reach.
Generally.
I would say.
Okay.
If you ask anyone, to do anything on a Tuesday night, they can't. The whole town is playing
netball.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember.
Blokes as well, or where are they? No,
they're
they're
mixed
all
netball.
mixed.
Do you know?
Okay.
I remember Deborah Conway came to Long Reach.
Really?
Yep, and she
Love
played,
her.
and she
At
came
the
on.
netball game?
She came on the same night as the netball.
Oh, and so what? She had to
There
get
were-
up and play a game. Did
No,
she?
there
So
were
people that listened to
only
her?
14 people turned up. Because everyone was at the
Deborah
netball.
Conway had to play.
Yeah, Deborah Conway
It wasn't
played.
the beginning at all. It was the end.
Yeah, no, she played, and William Ziggy.
Yeah,
Willie
her
Ziggy,
partner.
Yeah, her
Oh.
partner. Yeah,
Yeah.
they played a performance at the
At the airport.
Qantas,
the Qantas.
Qantas Museum,
Yeah.
Qantas Founders Museum. And because it was the netball night, only 14 people turned
Are
up.
you
No, seriously, because netball's so big. But I was in D division.
Never go to Long
mixed.
Reach on a Tuesday night.
Never,
Might have been
no.
a Thursday. It was one of those midweek days. But yeah, D division, mixed netball. I was the worst player on the worst team in D division.
Right.
And I had such a good time.
Yeah.
I really did. I had a wonderful
Mixed
time.
netball was really big in the 90s, I remember, in Brisbane. It was a really big thing at uni. Is it still a big...
Yeah, it still is.
You younger
yeah.
people, is it still big?
Oh, I love that you're calling me a younger person.
You youngsters still
You
play
youngsters,
netball?
what did you play netball?
So nice of you
But
to
it
say
was
that.
big. Yeah, it was big in the... Yet again, I had no
Maybe
idea what I
you
was doing.
maybe you should try it, John, because we have a segment on this show on Tuesday evenings called Sporting Club, and I spoke to a guy who used to play rugby and now is very passionate about mixed netball. So maybe, John Cahill,
Get
you
him
just have not found
away
your calling.
from me now. Yes. Thanks for the offer.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a joke here about long reach and netball.
Right.
If anyone
Yeah.
else wants to
Yeah,
fill in the
maybe.
blanks.
Yeah.
We could brainstorm this.
Yeah, we can.
work
while
it.
we're working
Yeah.
on
Maybe
the.
I'll have
yeah.
that whiskey first.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Did you hear that comment?
I did indeed.
Tom Greenard, yes, the producer
True
just
sportsman.
chiming in there saying Dennis Rodman has a long reach. Thank you.
Oh,
Everyone
yes.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, ba-boom.
Yes. Righto. So, lady and gentlemen, just a little dessert, just to top things off as we wrap up the segment. Anything that's been exciting happening in your world this week? No more lipstick attacks at the windscreen of the car?
No more lipstick attacks. Well, I'm yet to head down to the ABC car park. You never know. Exciting for me. Look, I'm on the board of the Lev Flasenko piano competition, which is a biannual piano competition that occurs in Brisbane. It's actually the second biggest piano competition in the Southern Hemisphere. Nice. It's the biggest piano competition that you've never heard of.
Yes.
And so it's only second to the Sydney competition, although the Sydney one runs every 4 years. This is every 2 years and specifically targeted at New Zealand and Australian players. And we have over 20 competitors. And actually, as we speak, the top 10 are being decided just next door here at the Conservatorium. So we've had rounds all this week.
Right.
And then there are further rounds. The semi-finals are on this weekend. It's like the Piano Olympics. And it's for people, it's adult players. So they're all, and there are we have a couple of 16-year-olds who are still doing their HSC down in Sydney. But extraordinary talent this week. It's just been amazing to watch. And the semi-finals run this weekend, and then the finals are next Friday night. And there's a $25,000 prize for the winner, but then there are I think we have about 12 prizes.
Yeah.
And it's an extraordinary program, and there are tickets on sale at the Conservatorium next door. Please try and get down if you can. Yes, it's in its 20th year. So
I'm curious to know, like, how does the piano competition work? Does each contestant have to play the same piece, or
it's a different, but it's run. It's the only competition in Australia that is run like a European competition. So it's run like the traditional European piano competition. So they have set repertoires, but it's not. You're not listening to each kind of playing one thing.
Rank 3 over and over
going,
again.
oh goodness, am I still here? Where are we? Oh my God! Oh, that was amazing. Although look, I'm not classically trained as a pianist, so I really can't tell the difference most of the time whether they're playing well or not. What I pick up on, I guess, is their passion, and some of them are just so passionate about it, and almost they're transferred to a new level, and it's amazing to watch.
Wow.
And they're all so dedicated. Like, they're all in the practice rooms here at the Con, and we're also using the AMEB studios out at Ashgrove, and these guys are just extraordinary, just practicing all the time. So, so it's an amazing competition, amazing festival.
Any of them having brain surgery while they're playing?
Well, no, and I'm thinking, Steve, that at the next festival, that's something we're going to introduce, just to mix things up a little.
You can earn your $25,000.
I was going to say, we could have $1 million prize then. So we're always looking for new ideas.
I love it. Okay.
Anyway.
The Lysenko, did you say?
The Lev Lysenko piano
Lev
competition.
Lysenko.
So Lev Lysenko was a very famous Russian pianist who retired essentially in Brisbane and taught at the Conservatorium in the 90s, and I believe he passed away about 12, 15 years ago. I apologise if I've got that date wrong, but his daughter is teaches at the Con, runs the piano program, Natasha Flasenko, and she started the competition in his honour. So
lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Blythe, what about you? What news have you got from...
Oh, actually, something a bit weird has been happening in my life lately, Trev, because I'm growing my own human. Like, I'm growing another human.
What? You've just eaten a bit.
Some of this is...
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, some of it is donut.
When is the human due?
The human is due on December 9. It just needs to stay in the oven for a little bit longer, the little guy. So that's something that I'm sort of working on at the moment.
Wow. Congratulations.
It's very strange. It's a really weird thing. It's really weird.
How far along are you?
About 6 months or so.
Okay.
Yeah, because one day you can have a Sauv Blanc and you can just live your life. The next day there's someone inside your belly kicking you, telling you can't have that Sauv Blanc.
Okay.
It's a bit weird.
Have it anyway.
Aside from that, because I work in ABC Regional, and we found that our audiences right across the country are absolutely obsessed with weather, all things weather, why things happen, not just the what of weather, but the why of weather. So I've been involved in this sort of big project where we're looking at more of the why of weather. So I was doing a little plug, abc.net.au/news/weather. We've got some great yarns up there, and I do social media strategy, so it's all part of my job to make sure that there's lots of eyeballs on this cool content. So if you do have awesome weather pictures, send them in to us with hashtag ABC Weather. So, sorry, Trev, just had to,
I just love the way
away.
that you seamlessly segued from I'm growing a human to check out this whole little weather thing I've got going
your
on.
photos right now.
Yeah, I just thought, John did such a good plug. This is my chance. This is my chance to get my plug in.
Absolutely. And what about you, Steve? Anything to plug? Or
I'm not plugging anything. I'm just going on holiday tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is an exciting trip. So
Absolutely.
tell us about the trip.
Yeah, we're going to Broome. And then we're going to get a 4-wheel drive, and then we're going to drive it all the way to Darwin over about 20 days.
Right,
yeah.
nice.
And we've watched the documentary Wolf Creek in preparation, so we know what it is that happens.
Inspired the holiday.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, yeah. So you fly to Broome. Can you fly directly to Broome from Brisbane?
No, you can't. Unfortunately, you've got to go via Perth. I mean, not unfortunately because Perth's a terrible place, but unfortunately in the sense that we are just pretty much getting there and then flying over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and part of the reason I'm excited as well is the fact that there'll be no internet, no phone, no signal, no no life. You know, you can actually switch off properly,
Yeah.
like a holiday is supposed to be, as opposed to every now and again going, oh, just have a quick check and oh God, what's happened? You know?
So you were having a holiday in 1995.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's great.
I'm gonna be wearing a tie-dye T-shirt.
Oh, fantastic. The hypercolour?
Absolutely,
Yeah, nice.
Actually, if that part of the country, it will always be one colour, and that'll be the hot colour.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Steve, have a wonderful trip. Just you and your wife?
Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Hopefully
you've
we
already
both make
revealed
it
on this
back.
program you're a terrible driver, so she's going to be doing all of that driving
Absolutely.
for 20 days.
I might do a little bit, but probably not. You know, it is a 4-wheel drive as well, so let's. And for the insurance purposes, I will not be doing any driving.
Well, I've not been, but everyone I know who's been to Broome says it's one of the most beautiful places in the country. So you might not want to leave. You might not even get to. You might not even get out of Broome. You might just stay.
This is the Wolf Creek
Swim with the
part I'm worrying
dolphins or
about.
whatever it is. Steve Morgan, Blythe Moore, John Cahill, thank you so much for being my guest on Eat the Week.
Thanks, Trev.
This is ABC Radio Brisbane and Queensland. We've got the latest news coming up in just seconds, and in that bulletin you will hear the news that Australia have indeed won the second test in Chittagong against Bangladesh by 7 wickets. The series is now level at 1